Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Ha ha ha. I hope you all are having a wonderful evening. I know I'm having a wonderful evening. Let me see. I got to get my checklist, make sure I got everything I need. Let's see. Cup of coffee, check. And that's it. Okay. Ha ha ha. Let's see who all's in tonight. Well, did you watch the uh, rally or speech? He did an unscheduled stop to announce Ron DeSantis bowing out and endorsing Mr. T. Hi, Doc. How you doing? Quilt. Richard. Ha, you're right off the bat. That's right. Debbie, Phil, B-Dog, Sherry, Alan. All right. Good to see everybody showing up. So it's interesting. We're going to have some big doings coming up in less than 48 hours. 48 hours. Less than 48 hours. Happy Two Bears, how you doing? Sissy's here. Jean. Zoe. Ha ha ha. Well, that's good. Let's see. And I believe Nikki might make it in this evening. And if she doesn't, I'm sure everybody will behave. So I don't give anybody a bad report card. You know, I was watching before I went live. I was watching a young man. He does videos about Second Amendment rights and stuff. You know, it's interesting because what's happening with Illinois, they're passing all these bans on magazines, bans on rifles, and different groups are trying to get do a little leapfrog and go straight to a certiorari to be heard right away by the Supreme Court, and getting denied a hearing. And they're like, oh my God, we got all these unconstitutional bans. Thousands of people in Illinois are felons, you know, going to bed at night, worrying about being felons, you know. Well, just because they decline to hear something and have it remain in the lower courts to be heard doesn't mean they disagree with the people. And as I've said many times, and I'll talk about some more examples of this in tonight's program, a lot of this stuff is being put in front of judges, prosecutors, whatever, committees, the Bar Association, whatever, to get people on record where they stand on certain issues. Like I said, we're weeding them all out, okay? This isn't just get Joe Biden out. This isn't get Kamala out. And then maybe we'll get Hillary and Barack. You know, no. This is a deep cleaning, okay? Deep cleaning, and you can't get them out until you have them take pen in hand and sign their name to things that are not in agreement with the Constitution, or if they're actually doing things intentionally to subvert the process. So, yeah, make them all go through it. Don't give them a pass. So that's going on in Illinois. If I got a screenshot of him, what his channel is, I'll mention it to you. Hi, the cat. How you doing? Susie's here. Let's see. David, how you doing? Damon, you got to notice. Good. Leisha, how you doing? Ingrid. How you doing, Debbie? Island Girl. Smash the like button. That's right. Smash that like button. Well, you can just podge it. Podge. Podge. Oh, you don't got to smash it. You might break your phone. But anyway, let me see if I got a screenshot of that channel that young man is doing. And he's talking about a judge. Let's see. oh, I didn't get the name. Maybe Armed Scholar. That's who it is, Armed Scholar. And this one judge on the Court of Appeals, what was his name? He said that he was moving the cases along in an expedited fashion, and he's putting these attorneys, okay, that are trying to support this legislation that is basically in defiance of Supreme Court precedent. He's getting them on record and making them file their legal reasoning and put their names on it. But one thing he said in some of his notifications to the people, to the attorneys for Second Amendment rights, was that he considered the term assault rifle to be a political term with no legal standing, or even scientific standing. And he's using a standard of definition, for what people commonly use or own in this country that cannot be banned arbitrarily. So it's very interesting. And like I say, they're making it go through the motions. We're not going to have these people hiding in the shadows anymore. We're always it's like Trump said in his rally yesterday. Who are these people? And I was going to put that in my thumbnail. Who are these people? Well, that's how you find out. Who are these people that put these proposals in? Who are the people that escort this type of onerous legislation through? And when it's getting to the point, nobody puts their name on it, as to where's the genesis of this. That's what we're going to find out. Hi, Nikki, how you doing? Now we got two Debbies. I believe we do. Hi, Debbie. So I'm just going, hi, Robin, how are you doing? Nice to see you. Yvonne's here. Melinda. Miss Mendersu. Gorgeous Patriots. Oh, boy. Wow. Gorgeous. Hi, Outlandish. How you doing? So, anyway, Mr. T put another moniker. What did he say about Joe? He is using terms that people know that there's danger around the corner. He's not trying to incite panic. He's just trying to instill reality. But he also made another mention on the positive side about this digital currency business. We've been talking for better part of 2 years that, Trump has said a long time ago, he doesn't like the Bitcoin idea. People can invest in it if they want, but he does not want it affecting the primacy of the dollar. And he said if any other country's currency replaces the U.S. dollar on the world stage as a primary currency, it would be the biggest defeat this country has suffered in 200 years. So digital currency, stick it. We don't want nothing to do with it. But, if people want to fiddle with it, fine. And there's ways that they could, electronically, they feel like they can protect it with a wallet and stuff like that. But, yeah. I like stuff in my hands, okay? In my hands. So, anyway, 6:43 in Southern California, Angela says. Oh, you put some earbuds in or get you one of them things that you can listen to. What do they call them things? Bluetooths or whatever they call them. But you can listen to it later on, Angela. That's fine. Whatever you want to do is fine with me. So, I tell you what, another thing that Trump's been bringing up about Biden's, and I've talked about it in the past, is Penn State. We're going to keep an eye on that. I only got so much room in my thumbnails to put stuff, and we go over a lot of different issues. And just keep that in the back of your mind about Penn State. He said there's something going on there that Biden's been getting a six-figure salary from them for years, right? From the Penn Center. And he hadn't even set foot in a place. So there's a lot of dirty money laundering going on there. And he said 100 million, that they scammed about 100 million in Penn State. And he says, we're not dealing with checker players. These people are smart. He said, a lot of time I'll say, like Joe's stupid and, some people are stupid. He said, but these people are smart and they're not just playing checkers. So you got to entertain the thought that they're purposefully trying to undermine this country and certainly purposely trying to, I guess you call it embezzle or defraud or whatever, taking money from there. So he is sending out signals, not just to the Bidens, but to the people involved. And one thing that I brought up about Penn State a number of times. Oh, by the way, I meant to have a little verbal party when I hit 300 videos on this channel. I missed it. This is the 303rd video. Actually, it's like more than that because they've taken some of my videos down. So I'm over 300. But hey, hooray, pow, pop, pop, pop champagne. So altogether, we've gone through about 600 videos. Hello, David, how you doing? Lone Wolf, how you doing? Yeah, we got everybody rolling in. Simpson's here, Mary's here. Thank you, Nikki, for putting that Buy Me Coffee link in there. I can post links. Maybe they'll let me post links. I don't know. I'm on some kind. Whoa, I got this newish kind of stand that I'm trying to work on so I don't have to hold the phone in a certain position. And after several hours of doing that, your arm feels like lead. So, but it's kind of flopping around, not standing up very good. But I'll get used to it. Cheapy weepy. Hello, Linda. How you doing? So anyway, if you hear a bang or a clunk, this thing fell over. I'm trying to keep it from drooping on me, but it's doing good so far. Now, he said he retired the DeSanctimonious nickname. You know what? And I don't want to keep bragging, but I will. I said a long time ago, people were like, why is Tim Scott running against Trump? Why is DeSanctimonious running against Trump? We know Chris Christie, Vivek, everybody need. Well, I said that it was a time for the Republican Party to show off their wares was one thing, and to show that we were not a cult. We were a vibrant party with different races, different genders, okay? That we were a diverse party. And many of the candidates that were running had the same philosophy as Mr. T and MA, and then rest is GA, right? Okay, nobody can argue that Vivek wasn't on board with that. DeSanctimonious wasn't on board with that. He was for a strong border and passed the ultimate penalty in Florida for those that abuse young people, right? So Tim Scott, nobody can say that he was ever at odds with Mr. T's program, but we were showing off our wares. And it was a good opportunity. Okay, Christopher, stop by, buy me a coffee. Let's see. Christopher H. Hey, thank you, buddy. How I do all my prep work and how I run the show. Keep it up. Ha ha, our patriot leader. Well, thank you, Christopher. I appreciate it very much. Let me try to get this off the screen without kicking myself off the broadcast. Ha ha ha. So anyway, that was one thing that I brought up about this strategy that the Republican Party was doing. We were showing our diversity. It was a golden opportunity to attract other people to the party that had the impression that we were just a bunch of Trump groupies, right? Okay. We got past that. We got past that with flying colors. And I said at a certain point that everybody was going to coalesce around Trump. Do you all remember me saying that? Well, what do we got? Tim Scott endorsed Trump. Vivek endorsed Trump. DeSantis endorsed Trump. Even Chris Christie gave a sideways endorsement, like Trump said. I don't know if that mic was left a hot mic on purpose or not. when he said, when Crispy Chris said that Nikki Haley was going to get blown out, and she was terrified of how Trump was going to steamroll over her, basically. So there's 4 out of 5 that did just what I predicted. And also, I reminded people that DeSanctimonious, that's retired now. I'll just say Ronnie D or DeSantis, we go along with what Trump says, right? And that he was a Navy SEAL, and not just a Navy SEAL. He was a combat commander. Okay. Hi, Donna. How are you doing? Dippy doodah, Debbie says. So let me just see what's going on. Nikki's husband went to Afghanistan. What? B-Dog, what are you talking about? Don't be getting on my nerves now. PA was one of the first states to legalize, this is DeCat, a state lottery supposedly to fund schools. Yeah, a lot of states did that. Merely a way for them to take money from it. Schools lost their funding. That's exactly right. I had a friend of mine that was involved very heavily in politics. And I've talked about him a number of times. And that was when they started that BS was in the 90s. And we're going to start a lottery and all the profits are going to go to the schools. Don't you care about the children? And sure enough, you go through the books, there's nothing going to the schools from that. They just take over vices, throw people in jail, like somebody running a card game or running the numbers. They put them in jail, and you just have the government take it over. Anybody else runs it, it's a vice, right? But if they run it, it's to help the children. So let's see. We got Tuesday's coming up, and Birdbrain is all alone. And, the other thing that I said Vivek was a plant, World Economic Forum plant, big pharma plant. Okay. I said that Ron DeSantis was breaking the back. I said this over a year ago. And it was true that he broke the back of the corrupt election system in Florida for decades. It was like, who's going to win Florida? Is it going to be George Bush or Al Gore? It's only a 2-point spread, or it's a 1.25 spread. and they had Florida always neck and neck, playing games with Florida. Well, guess what? The games are over. Okay, their cheating machine has been destroyed, and I credited that to Trump getting DeSantis in the governorship. And I feel that a lot of these games they're playing, like calling Bill Barr a pig and a fat slob, at the same time while Ron DeSantis is reinstituting the ultimate penalty on the federal level and expanding the methods of execution on the federal level. All a game, folks. All a game. So I want to get through my points before I get into anything here. Let me see. DeSantis wasn't a Navy SEAL. He was deployed with the SEALs, but was not a member. He was a combat commander, freedom rider. So, what I would kindly suggest to you, freedom rider, welcome aboard. Appreciate you coming by. Let's see, who am I missing? Sandy's here. Marla, Bill. Make sure I get, if I miss anybody, it is not on purpose. Okay. Huckabee is VP. That's a thought. Which one, David? But anyway, freedom, before you make a statement like that, really think about who you're hearing it from. You don't know about Ron DeSantis' service. And I know people who have been in the service, you won't find nothing on them, nothing about their record or anything, okay? For what reason? Safety. Safety. Yeah, he was a JAG, that's right. But hey, it's not like you walk through the door. Hey, you're a Judge Advocate General staff. You won't be top banana. You got to start at the bottom of the bunch. You ever hear that? That's an old saying. So anyway, the other points that I was bringing up about this information dissemination operation and how things are going, and I could do my Darth Sidious voice. It is exactly as I have foreseen. So no, it is. A lot of stuff is coming together just the way I thought it was, and to me, it's obvious because you are not going to get Mike Pence sending the ballots back like the Constitution says, or considering alternate slates like had been done since Thomas Jefferson, and all the Democrats have put in alternate slates. Oh, but when 80-some-year-old Republicans do it for Trump, we put them in jail. Oh, isn't that interesting? But anyway, you would not have had a scenario where Bill Barr could have done anything. Mike Pence could have done anything, even if they were in comportment with the law, because we have a captured media, or in some cases, infiltrated media that would portray it in the most horrible light, using misinformation and psyops. And that's why I kind of take it easy on people. And that's why I ask you all to look at your friends and family members, as I've said many times, and understand that they have been subjected to the most sophisticated psyops this world has ever seen. We've never had this level of ability to influence people's thoughts, any greater ever in history of mankind than right now. So, hey, your phone, in some cases, can tell you what you're thinking. It certainly can put up ads for what you were talking with your friend about, or with the phone off, laying on the counter, and you talk to your friends about Home Depot, and then you turn your phone on, and there's a bunch of Home Depot junk on your phone. So they're constantly listening. They're constantly sending out signals, gaslighting people, right? So anyway, who misrepresented? Misinterpret what he actually, you don't know his history, Freedom Rider. How long was he in the service? When did he go into service? When he went into service, he went straight to Judge Advocate General's office. You're misinterpreting, like with Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani. You're playing it off like they're crazy people. They're crazy people who are criminal and all this kind of stuff. Sidney Powell's a prosecutor for Jack. Okay, she can convene a grand jury. Okay, she can level charges. It's a game. They're playing a game. It's what we used to call playing cards with them. You get somebody that's broke the law. Okay, they robbed a 7-Eleven or something, and you know who was involved. Well, you're going to find out who was that. Whose idea was it to take that BB gun and pretend it was a real gun? Well, they run around. Why don't you just arrest them all? Well, you go play cards with them for a little while. You're going to find out who's behind it. They're playing cards with them right now. Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell's a perfect example. You don't know their history. You don't have any, and I'm not saying this is a critical way, Freedom. And it's a good thing we're on topic. We're talking about the people that are involved in this. Some people call it a show. I call it an operation. Some people call it a plan. Okay. But this country has got to be flushed out of corruption, got to be flushed out of nefarious entities, foreign agents that have infiltrated a lot of different levels of things that are harmful to this country, need to be flushed out. And before you can do that, you gotta catch them. You gotta have them do it. So, with that being said, you have to understand that you don't even respect the people you're talking about. And you have expressed that. And I'm not saying that as an insult or a slur to you. You have no respect for Rudy Giuliani. You have no respect for Donald Trump. You have no respect for Sidney Powell. If they're conservative, you just automatically go to whatever you think is the worst thing about them. I have not read his biography. And Sidney Powell and Rudy, why aren't they great examples to bring up? They're stellar examples. They are. Rudy Giuliani is an American icon and a hero. He was a hero then. He's a hero now, and he's going to be in the history books every bit as much as Benjamin Franklin and George Washington. You mark my words. And what I tell people who get on the internet and bibble babble about Trump and insult Trump or any other patriots. Hi, Andrew. I tell them, I type in there, you couldn't shine Trump's shoes. You couldn't carry Trump's briefcase. And it's true. These people that take the time out of their day to parrot or mockingbird negative talking points about people at the level of Trump, Giuliani, and Sidney Powell, Mike Lindell, okay? They couldn't carry their briefcases. Their own personal accomplishments are are nothing, zero. Not even that of a college graduate. These people are keyboard warriors. How many jobs have they ever created? These people that are always criticizing and bad-mouthing people like Giuliani and Powell. How many jobs I've created jobs. How many checks have they signed to give to other people? I've signed checks. How many houses have they built? How many pieces of property that weren't doing a damn thing, sitting there blight or vacant, doing nothing, they turn into tax base that a town or a city or a county can start earning money on? I've done that a number of times. If I was to go back and see how many pieces of property that we're bringing in, maybe $500 to $1,000 a year in taxes, are bringing in hundreds of thousands because of my using my brain to develop property. Okay, me putting my sweat of my brow, the money I earned on the chopping block at risk to make something happen. And it worked. And now the tax base has every year, year after year after year, on ad infinitum, hundreds of thousands of dollars coming every year. What have you done? Or your ilk, I'll put it that way. I don't want to get personal, but people that criticize those who produce, those who risk, those who reach out for the brass ring. There's somebody on the ground trying to take a stick and smack them off their horse. That's how they spend their time, trying to screw up people that are trying to achieve. Why don't you learn how to achieve on your own? Outlandish Patriot, I think Rudy's old. Well, yeah, I mean, you don't get any younger every morning when you wake up. Yeah, Rudy's got no. Trump hinted that he was had some health problems. Rudy had some health problems. Now, I don't know if Rudy's actually passed the 80-year mark. Freedom Rider says, because Sidney pleaded guilty to election interference. What? It won't even be on the books. It's not even a conviction. It's not a conviction. It's where she pays a $6,000 civil fine. There's no crime of immoral turpitude, which means she keeps her law license, and after so many 60 months or something like that, it disappears and it's not even on the books anymore. So what would a smart person do? Attorneys charge that much a week, $6,000. Certainly every 2 weeks, and she's looking at months of going to trial. What did she put up a picture of after she did that dopey little plea deal? She put a picture up with her and her grandkid and a big smile on her face because she's going to be back in that courtroom. Well, I'm not saying Rudy won't do anything else in politics, but I have heard that he's had some health problems. But Sidney Powell put to bed a political persecution, and it's going to be proven that it's political persecution. And she was dealing with whose office? Whose office was she dealing with? FANI, like Mr. Trump said. It's pronounced FANI with no U or H in there. Where a normal pronunciation would be Fanny, but Fani Willis, her and her boyfriend her and her boyfriend are looking at crimes of immoral turpitude. All right. He is showing up for contempt. All right. In his divorce proceedings. Did they manipulate the situation where he didn't have to report? He felt he didn't have to report to his wife's attorney about income he was receiving. And he filed for divorce the day after FANI hired him. Got $1 million and counting. And they both went on vacation. So they're looking at embezzlement. You're looking at unauthorized use, taking COVID money, federal money, hundreds of thousands of dollars meant for COVID, federal money, and abuse of state funds. Do you think she went to the church with all that BS talk for nothing? She gave, how long was she up there? 20, 30 minutes? Let me tell you now, folks, I have to, God knows that these were superstars and I picked them, and they was black and they was white, and one was a woman and one was a man. All this BS. Well, wait a minute. The one you were dating behind his wife's back, you gave him 10 times the money you gave everybody else. So, yeah, FANI, like Outlander said, FANI is looking at some crap coming her way, and so is that clown, that gigolo. She's a homewrecker and he's a gigolo, and in my opinion, and I think they're looking at trouble, big trouble, and it's a joke. It's funny. Okay, and we're finding out who's the good guys, who's the bad guys in Georgia. You don't think Newt Gingrich is down there for nothing, do you? Newt Gingrich from Georgia. So anyway, that's FANI's in trouble. I don't see any throwing cheap rocks at Sidney Powell and Rudy. Rudy, like I said, you can go on his YouTube channel and comment, but he's a criminal defendant. Like he cares. He's on every day or Monday through Friday, I believe, on WABC.com. Crypto Night, how you doing? Yeah, Bernie, bro. Bernie, he folded. He got his millions for letting Joe, first Hillary and then Joe screwed him over. They could care less about their supporters. That's typical for a socialist / communist. And that's all they are. Demanders and expectors. They expect and demand, and they don't produce. They don't produce. But you know what? How many of you folks, and I'm bringing this up for a reason, I'm not off topic. How many of you folks have been keeping up with the Adelson case? The red rum of Dan Markel, a professor in Florida who was gunned down in his garage. She didn't break any laws. Freedom. It's a joke. It's a made up, what they call novel legal theories. Novel legal theories. And, the way they have the judges lined up and the way they have the prosecutors that are bought off by George Soros, they can drag that stuff out, these novel legal theories, for months and even years, because they're not seriously challenged or looked at. And the average person doesn't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to defend themselves. And they can drag it out on a novel legal theory. What does novel legal theory mean? Get your thesaurus out and look up what novel means, not something you sit down and read. It's something pulled out of their rear ends. No, she didn't break any laws. You tell me what law she broke. And I'll tell you what, these people are public figures. And if you ever get in a situation where you decide to throw rocks at a private individual, you better be careful, because there's such a thing as tort law. No, she did this plea agreement that basically turned everything off. And Mr. T had been doing his whole life and is doing now. What are you talking about? You're just talking. I'm starting to think you're you're just a paid troll, because what you're saying is ridiculous. You didn't even look up the word. I did not say FANI broke no laws. But you're taking up too much time with gibberish and nonsense. You're not making good points. You're just throwing out mainstream talking points, and I don't know if you're just I don't want to say troll, but if you're operative or something. I mean, some people get paid a little bit to go out and disrupt conversations. You're not serious. You're not serious. Saying Trump is making up laws as he goes. He's following everything. He's the one in the hot seat with a bunch of made up garbage. Go look the words up, okay? So anyway, Fanny's boyfriend is going to be looking at contempt charges with how he handled his situation with his ex-wife, soon to be ex-wife's divorce situation. Now they say that the records are well, I misread your comment. I thought you said that Sidney Powell broke laws. As a matter of fact, I don't think you put anyone's name. You just said if she broke laws, she should pay. And all you've been doing was bitching about Sidney Powell. So who do you think I thought you were talking about? So anyway, be more concise. Anyway, yeah, it is disruptive. Anyway, so the boyfriend has got to show cause as to why he should be held in contempt and what's going on with all this money. And the wife's sitting there, and boom, she gets served with these divorce papers. And next thing you know, her husband's working for FANI. And then she finds all these hotel receipts and credit card receipts where he's been traveling to all these places with FANI in hotel rooms. He'd been screwing around on her. And of course, they hide all that. And what's going to happen to him? You think somebody should practice law if they are acting in contempt, if they're concealing funds, or if they're structuring their employment and their paychecks in such a way as to deceive their spouse, especially when it comes down to a divorce hearing? I'm not kidding you. What else are you looking at? Things that you can lose your law license over. That's what you're looking at. Hi, Clay. Well, you're saying it now, but you didn't say it then. Yeah, and Fanny, you're right, single. Fanny's boyfriend and Fanny herself is on the White House books. And the boyfriend got $2,000. Election interference by the Bidens, yeah. It's all election interference. This stuff could have been brought years ago, 3 years ago. And the thing is, it's like Mr. T said, like dealing with people, that have got this TDS stuff going on. You can't understand them. You can't understand them because they're talking in circles. They're talking in rumors. They're like barking seals. And how can you make sense of that? Yeah, FANI's going away, Doug. You're right. Where my chat's froze. So anyway, whoa, what is going on? There, it's moving. Whoa. Hi, Ken. Ken said, don't take this the wrong way, but making Trump look like the head of a mob is a little in poor taste. Well, I put that up there because we got a running joke about The Godfather. And that's one of my viewers who watches after the live stream. And hey, Trump's in charge. So I thought it was a cute meme, but didn't mean anything by it. What in the world is going on? My chat's freezing up. Yeah, Robin says they got voice transcripts as well. Is that voice transcripts at the White House? I'm sure. Robin, is that White House? They probably got actual tapes where people can hear it. I tell you what we're going to have is, now let me get back to this Adelson. Let me see. Yeah, okay, yeah. Robin said, yeah, in the White House. So let me see what if people heard anything about this Adelson case. And if you haven't, it's pretty famous. I mean, that was in Tallahassee. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because this wealthy family was getting into a fight over where the children would live. Would they live in South Florida, where the rich people were, and this girl's parents, or the husband, Dan Markel, who lived up north in Tallahassee? And the judge said, well, you all got married, you been living in Tallahassee, your kids are going to school in Tallahassee, you both work in Tallahassee, so I'm not going to approve of you, the ex-wife, of taking the kids and moving them 4 hours away to be with their grandparents. The father, you all need to stay together. So anyway, turned out that the husband, Dan Markel, found out that his wife, who was divorcing him, had hidden a significant sum of money from their divorce proceedings. And he had filed a complaint because she was an attorney. It still is an attorney. He filed a complaint that she was concealing marital assets, right? Well, a very short period after he filed, I think about 2 days before the hearing on hiding assets, he got 2 pew-pews in the head. Okay? It's serious. It's serious when you do things as an attorney, when you try to conceal things or commit a fraud or contempt on the court. That's not the only reason why they did that to him, but it certainly put a impetus on ending the court hearings. And so, of course, they're acting like it was some kind of random gang that did it. And, well, if you watch the story, you watch past videos on it, Dan Markel was killed, I think, in 2013 or 14. And look how many years have gone by. And they've got 3 people in jail for life. 4. No, 1, 2, yeah, 4 people so far. And the mother just got arrested last month. But anyway, and the other thing Trump was bringing up that I brought up in the past, I brought up and did a number of videos about Weissman, Andrew Weissman. He went out of his way in his speeches, sprinkled in with the stuff he tells us. He is consistently going after their holy grails. He's going after the TRANS movement, okay? The mandates in the schools, VAX mandates. He's going after inappropriate things with young people, children. He's laying it all out over and over and over again. But in between, he's sending signals out. I guarantee you, everybody in positions of power or in the bureaucracy, pay attention to every speech Trump gives. And when their hair stands up on the back of their neck, when they hear Trump mention their name, and he did mention Lisa Monaco and Andrew Weissman. He asked, who was Merrick Garland's boss? And he said, Lisa Monaco. Lisa Monaco is supposed to be the assistant to Merrick Garland. But he said, no, she's the real boss. Who's her boss? He said. Andrew Weissman. And I said he was always in the shadows, but we would be hearing more about him. And this is about the 3rd time Trump has mentioned his name as a major agitator. And behind this nonsense of going after Trump. Yeah, David, we spell that red rum instead of the MUR and then DER word. They get on me when I use terms like that. Buzzy, how you doing? Hi, Georgia. David's oh, no, I see, David. You're new here, aren't you? So according to you, Trump and Giuliani are behind it all. Well, I don't want to tell you about that. That was a choice. And Trump always said, you got to keep your freedom, okay? You got to keep your constitutional rights and don't let C-VID run your life. And they had warp speed, and they approved that after the election. And I think while Trump was in office, what they were doing was safe. And then after he left office, if he stayed there, there'd have been a civil war. There wasn't anything Mike Pence could do, anything Bill Barr could do. They were talking about impeaching Bill Barr. They had show upon show calling Bill Barr Trump's personal attorney. Do you all remember that? Okay. There was nothing anybody could do without there being big turmoil than for Trump to leave office on the 20th, which he did. And I don't know an insurrectionist or a dictator that stepped down peaceably just like Trump did. And what they did with those things in a vial after Trump left office, you have to ask Bill Gates. You have to ask Anthony Fauci. And I don't know how many hints the man could give about what to do. Trump did not say he was suspending the Constitution, friend, right? He said the Constitution was trashed. And the news came out saying Trump said he's going to trash the Constitution. He said it already was trashed. Boo-boo. Now, that's what I know to be a fact. And boo-boo, you're welcome to be in this conversation, but don't be using that kind of filthy visuals, okay? Go take your fourth BOOSTER, go get your fourth one and go back to sleep. And I didn't care for what DeSantis was doing. Defended Trump. That's so funny. He's not worried about it. He's not sweating it. Hi, MS Motorsports. How you doing? Take a look at what Abraham Lincoln did, Freedom Rider. Whoops. Oh, that's right. I'll put it up there. Mr. T exposing all the players in the game. And when you declare an insurrection act, you do extra, like what did Abraham Lincoln do? When people violate the Constitution, okay, when they trash the Constitution, when they're not following the Constitution, when you got majority of people involved in the government and involved in the bureaucracy that are undermining the Constitution, dreaming up novel legal approaches to divide the country and interfere with an election, what do? That's right, Robin. We'll put that on the board. There you go, because that's the bottom line right here on the screen. Let me get it on the screen. How do I? Come on. Get on the screen. There you go. Mr. T goes by the rules and regs, and they have violated it for years. Tell me what law he's violated, what rule and regulation he's violated. And don't give us that crap about him being an insurrectionist. He had every right to call out election fraud. Okay, they got the proof. It's going to come out. And he's followed the law. He's gone by the law. How can people say that about Trump when Biden is letting millions of people in this country in violation of the law, in violation of the Constitution, which describes an alien, an illegal alien, okay, which describes naturalized citizenship, okay? And they're defying that, the black letter of the law. And there's a showdown in Texas over it. The Texas governor is enforcing the Constitution, the United States Constitution, and the Texas Constitution. And you've got them sending down federal troops to try to get to tear down lawful impediments to an invasion of this country. It's been over 3 years and no election frauds come out because there are people installed in prosecutors' offices and judge offices and government governorships that are doing everything to obstruct getting the facts out, not letting the cases be heard. Hi, New Insight. How you doing? If the case cannot be heard, if the judge will not let evidence be presented, okay, why do you think they raided Mar-a-Lago? Because they want to get his evidence, not of just election fraud, but of 9/11, of the Kennedy assassination, and God knows how many other horrific things that have been done against the people of this country. They're trying to get that stuff locked away where Trump can't declassify it. But guess what? That's what this stuff is all about. The Fani Willis situation is going to move forward, okay? Rudy Giuliani, all of them are going to be at a point where they can put forth evidence. And if it isn't done in the Georgia case, it'll be done elsewhere. Over 1 million military-age men have entered the country. That is right, single songwriter. How do you sleep at night knowing that? Yeah, but much of the federal judiciary is appointed by 30%, Freedom Rider, and none of them have of any hearing a case of any consequence of what we're talking about. They've all been assigned. You can name them. We talked about them. They've all been assigned to wild-eyed Marxists. Okay. Or people who have been tied to a certain piece of property out in the water, the Virgin Islands. Yeah, we talk about that because that's falling apart too. All these politicians and judges. We've even got pictures of John Roberts standing there with a beer in crystal blue water up to his belly button with Bill Clinton and other notable people on a certain person's island. John Roberts, Supreme Court Justice, they go down to the Virgin Islands and Epstein Island like the swallows going back to Capistrano. And they don't want it to get out. When the swallows come back from Capistrano. That's the way it is. How many of them are involved in that stuff? You know, and I was watching a news report about this Fani Willis stuff, and I think it was CNN. They're talking about Fani Willis and her boyfriend, right? And you go, oh, gee, they're going to cover it. And they did. But they cover it, they might as well be talking Swahili because they start their report out by saying, former president, the case involving former President Trump is in a mismanaged mess or a major mess. That's how they started off. Fani Willis and her boyfriend are in the trouble they're in, and they start the report out by saying former President Donald Trump's case involving no, however they worded it, like to get 2 shots in the former president of the United States, and the case that Donald John Trump is involved in is in a major mess. And people are doing the dishes or cooking dinner and go, oh, Donald Trump's in a major mess. No, they're talking about Fannie Willis and her screwing around with somebody else's husband. Localas, how are you? That's right, needs to be stopped. The Freedom Rider, you can't put that in there. That letter, 17 letter. Now, I've talked about that. Are you trying to get me in trouble on purpose? And I will give you a hint. Okay, Freedom? You have to spell that C-U-E instead of the letter itself, like a cue ball on the pool table. But I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to assume that you have the ability to have an analytical mind, right? And as much as you're involved in digging up dirt on Trump where there is no dirt, go to that site. Okay? Go to that site and just piss around looking at posts. It'll blow your mind. There's nothing in there about spaceships. There's nothing in there about lizard people. There's nothing in there about nothing except articles and proof that'll blow your mind. Stuff, that you're not aware of. But everybody will be aware of it for long. That letter, alerts.com. It's just that simple. Put a hashtag in where the little magnifying glass is, and put any number in you want between 1 and 4,800. Number, hashtag, and then a number, and then hit search. 465, 512, any number you want. And you'll start learning a little something about life. Hi, Roy. Yeah, wait till Mr. T's elected. They're screaming their heads off. Yeah, that's right, Outlandish. It's all with the news they read. And the thing is, you cannot trust this media. You can't. Yeah, well, it's been longer than that, single songwriter. T was under investigation long before he announced he was running. The Obama administration and the IRS had investigated him every year, audited all his businesses while Obama was in office. They were scared of him because this operation has been going on for a long time. Okay. And one thing Trump said when he said, you can't understand where they're coming from because they're not dealing with common sense. And he said, we're the party of common sense. How can you understand somebody that has surrendered their common sense? Just like you sit there and see that Sidney Powell, she's dealing with a corrupt district attorney, judges that are either steering this through to root out corruption or they're corrupt themselves. These things are not being dismissed as they should be as novel legal theories, which they themselves say these are novel theories. Jack Smith has used that example. So what do? You sit there and take a goofball little plea deal that means nothing, will not even be on the record. How can you say Where's your common sense? What do you think what the hell is that? Of course, it's just a way to try to get headlines and have people repeating, Sidney Powell took a plea deal, she's guilty. It is nothing. Okay, it's garbage. And I think it's all part of getting everything to the surface. But if somebody can't see that kind of common sense, what you're hearing about the Penn Center, $100 million, and I didn't get to bring it up earlier, to remember about the Penn Center having what they called, and I'm going to say it one time, I think I can get away with saying it one time, having fetuses, okay? They called them that, but they were older than the time of gestation. They were viable. That's another term for alive. In other words, they had babies they were experimenting on. Past the time point of gestation. How old they got to be? A year old? We had a 12-month FETUS. How do you have a 12-month FETUS when it's only 9-month gestation period? When you remove from the mother at 4 months, and then 8 months or a year later, you still have it, and it's still breathing, that's not a FETUS anymore. That's a human being. And what kind of experiments are you doing? Talk about common sense. Where's people's outrage? We're going to hear about that. Did you all get what I'm saying? What they were doing with human beings? And it all ties into Penn State. And Joe Biden's in the Penn State. What was Epstein doing on his Montana ranch? Experimenting. Had a laboratory. I mean, we were told what was the percentage of people that would need psychiatric care if they knew the whole story? I believe it was 90% of the population would need psychiatric care. And if you sat right down and thought about it, what I just told you about Penn State, those who know cannot sleep. So did you notice how Trump said Biden could only speak for like 2 minutes? And he said it starts to wear off. And when he said that, he rubbed his shoulder. You know, they're giving him probably 6,000 or 60,000 milligrams of vitamin B12 and crack or whatever they do to get his neurons to fire long enough to speak coherently for 2 minutes. That's right, Robin. We will have to help many when it is all over. Well, I am talking about one college, and they had more than one experimental FETUS. Do you know how many other colleges are doing that? How many private places like Epstein had on his Montana ranch? We know that Russia went to the UN and said, look, we found these LABs. In Ukraine. And that they were doing things to enhance diseases, which is illegal. But what else do you think they were doing with human life? I mean, think about it, folks. Man, have you got a brain in your head, Freedom? Talking about Nikki and Nancy, cognitive decline. He gave an hour and a half speech last night. He gave an hour and a half speech today. He'll be in court in the morning, and he'll give another hour and a half speech tomorrow. And you're talking about something nobody's even talking about. He's grabbing at straws, Georgia. Don't let him upset you. I mean, it's, part of the, see what they got. Show me what you got. What you got against Trump? He said Nancy instead of Nikki. So what? They're both globalist creeps, easy to mix them up. Easy to mix them up. And if you think Trump does his own tweets, he's got other people do that stuff for him. And a lot of times he'll make mistakes, just like B-Dog saying. He'll make mistakes to get people to go rush and look at the tweet. They'll get the message of the tweet when he misspells a word or does something. Because he could do the tweet and do it correctly with the proper name, and nobody will pay attention. You do a misspelling or put the wrong name in there, everybody will read the tweet and see the insult or the point he's trying to make. The man's a genius. Don't you know that? What are you talking about? So what if he'd said Nancy instead of Nikki? The man, he is the most accessible president in history. He gives press conferences constantly. He went to a campaign office, an unscheduled stop, and talked for 15 minutes for freewheeling, meeting with about 100 people talking about Ron DeSantis. And then he gave a rally after another rally the night before that, traveling all over the place and just as sharp as a tack. And he said Nikki instead of Nancy, or Nancy instead of Nikki. Well, I mean, what have you got rocks in your head, mister? I've misspoken and messed up names before. Cognitive decline. Cognitive decline is sitting here defending a pack of criminals that are trying to interfere with an election and destroy a candidate who is an outsider, not part of the criminal, bureaucratic, political class, who's coming in to clean house to prevent young people from being abused, to prevent our borders from being overrun by millions of military-aged illegal aliens, to rein in the onerous taxes on people, to stop digital currency where they can steal your money anytime they want and control everything you buy. That's cognitive decline, is attacking a man who's trying to help you. That's where you, never mind cognitive decline. Your brain hadn't even got to the point where it can decline. If you're that fixated on and jealous of a successful person, that your purpose in life is to nitpick little garbage when he's sitting here literally trying to save the world. Yeah, Trump's a genius. And you notice he mentioned his Uncle John again. How many times? This is the third time. His Uncle John, who had 3 degrees. I mean, he had a doctorate at MIT. Okay, the longest serving professor at MIT in history. He mentioned him 3 times. How many times you heard the press ever talk about Uncle John Trump? Well, Nancy didn't defend the Capitol, so he got Nikki and Nancy mixed up. You're talking about 2 dried up old ninnies, okay? It's easy to mix them up. And it was just what MS Motorsports says, and a couple of other people said, it was a trap to get the fake news to say Nancy did not defend the Capitol. So he puts the wrong name in there. It gets press coverage. That's right. You stick with Poopy Pants. Poopy Pants Biden. And he literally pooped his pants in front of the Pope. The Italian press reported on it. My God. You don't hear a thing about that. And Trump says Nikki instead of Nancy. Oh. And the man is actually crapping his pants and breaking wind at a royal dinner. They wouldn't even invite him to the coronation because he was such a disaster the last time. He stunk the place out. So what do you got to say about that? I'm already at 1 hour and 20 minutes. How you doing, Gary? Thank you for helping sponsor the show last night, Gary. I appreciate it, buddy. 40 years at MIT, that's right. What about when, there you go, what about when Biden was speaking to a group of senators and looking for one that was deceased? Or he told the guy in the wheelchair, go ahead, stand up and wave at everybody. And the guy sitting in the wheelchair. That's right. He did it on purpose. He switched names. So now the media has to talk about Nancy was in charge of the Capitol. Art of War. Read the book, Climate Rider. Climate Rider. I forgot about that. Freedom Rider is going, yeah, eat a pound of bugs. Localized says. Eat your bugs. Get your booster and eat your bugs. Eat the bugs. Nikki, a dried up old ninny. That's offensive. Well, she's 25 years younger than T, but she's still a dried up old ninny. Don Lemon never used the term dried up old ninny. That's my term. I say that about men and women. Know what a ninny is? Look it up. That is what do you call that? It's both sexes. You all got words for that kind of creepy stuff. Both sexes. A ninny. You sometimes you behave like a ninny. Look it up. It doesn't mean it's a sexist thing towards a woman. Just like the term nitwit. There was a guy who was on here the other night, got mad because I said I was imitating oh gosh, what was that? Sanford and Son. I was imitating Fred Sanford, and I said, "You big dummy, dummy," and he got all offended, and I said that liberals were nitwits. Well, a nit is a very small bug, and if you have the wit of a nit, you're a nitwit. Okay, it's people. I don't care about color of people's skin or nothing. I care about how thin it is. How thin is your skin? Somebody acts like a nitwit, they're a nitwit. Look up the term ninny, nitwit. See, you're being a nitwit using terms like mansplain and stuff like that, you big dummy. You dumb dummy. All right. Well, I can tell you I could do my Archie insults. If people want me to be like Archie, you stupid Polak. That's Archie Bunker talking meathead. But anyway, let me see. Garrett, how you doing? Never stay at a if Holiday Inn. Let's just say they hire Karens. It all depends on where you go, Garrett. That's right. Archie was the cutting edge back in the day. I got to watch some more of those videos. They are so funny. I mean, you had moving on up, Jefferson's. He would come in Archie's Archie's house with Edith, and he'd go in the kitchen and they'd start arguing, and he'd call Archie a honky or a cracker, and people back then didn't get all offended. It was funny. He called a meathead. He called him a Polak. And you watch the movie Gran Torino when Clint Eastwood goes to get his hair cut. And they're both friends. The guy makes fun of Clint Eastwood because he's Irish, calls him a Mick. And Clint Eastwood calls his Barbara Polak, but they're friends. People have got, there you go, Donna. Thank you. Ninny, a fool, a simpleton. Thank you for looking that up. And yeah, it is pansexual. A ninny can be anybody. That's right, Sherry. They're the most clueless people. They have no common sense. They have no sense of humor. And that's what Trump was saying today. Somebody wouldn't park their truck in the grass, Garrett. I'm just reading comments. He had to park his nice truck in the grass. Whoops. Well, I'll leave that up, Sherry. Yeah. They're the clueless people you ever know. No common sense whatsoever. Yeah, Gran Torino was a good movie. Clown face. Bootlickers, well, you start off with an insult. Clown face, you're welcome to be here. You just don't need to insult people in chats. Because look here, Freedom Rider, he's on the other side of the fence and says, I got to run. Lots of fun as always. Have a great night, Mountain Man, and hope you learned something new tonight as I learned a few things. Yeah, okay. Okay. But anyway, Clownface, you don't need to call people names. You're welcome to be here. I will call you names like from 70s television shows. Okay? Yeah, Dixie, Red Fox, he didn't care who he offended, and nobody got their feelings hurt. And no one lost their job over it. Don Rickles, Don Rickles was funny too. But anyway, Clownface, you need to come in when you get a chance to listen to what people have to say, the other side of the coin, so to speak. And maybe you'll make some friends and learn a little something, like this person who just signed off. Hi, Jordan. All right. Let me just check, see it's real quick what we got going on here. Um, I talked about stink bugs the other day, and I also wanted to point out that we never had stink bugs, okay, in North America. They came through with this illegal immigration, and I am an expert. When I was a kid, I was an expert on bugs. I knew every bug you could dig up or pull out of a tree or whatever. And we didn't start getting those till the late 1980s. And the other thing more important than that is what's happening. Not only are the school systems having a very difficult time dealing with kids that can't speak the language, but also we had a tremendous upsurge in TB, okay? Kids getting sick with diseases because nobody is having a physical check on what they're coming in with. So we got a lot of schools that are dealing with outbreaks of diseases that we used to have under control. And Jordan is a stink bug. So I'm sorry to hear that, Jordan, but maybe, change their name to stink bug. That'd be cool. Let's see. The other thing, I'll save it for when we come back up again, that we hadn't talked about, that some of the people in the chats talked about, which was the effects of a certain procedure on the survivor. Okay, we'll bring that up in the future and talk about it. And y'all think about what I mean by what I'm saying there. No, but there are 2 victims out of a certain procedure, which I talked about earlier. MS Motorsports, they came over in containers from China. You talking about people or stink bugs? Stink bugs come from Guatemala, and pretty warm climates. But if you heard that they came over, they are stink bugs originated in China. I don't think so. But anyway, everybody's going night-night, and Island Girl's going night-night. Gary's going night-night, and Nikki went night-night, and stink bug's still here. I don't know if stink bug's still here or not. And I understand it's getting late. I'll just anyway. I'll probably see y'all tomorrow. We'll see which way the wind blows. Mr. T's going to court tomorrow. He's having another rally tomorrow night. Okay, and we'll see how long that is. If it's not too late, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll know when I go live and you can be part of the chats. Anyway, thank you for spending your precious time with me, folks. I know, Robin, it's like I got my second wind and everybody wants to go to bed. Cicada is not a stink bug, Ian. How you doing, Ian? There you go. And was I right? New insight? They came from Guatemala, yeah. Yeah, they came from Guatemala in the late 80s or, late 80s or 90s. Okay, let me see if I got to remember who's there. Jordan is stink bug. All right, I don't see him anymore. All right, so how you doing, Ian? So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe so you know when I go live. And I will be seeing you soon, folks. You all have a great night. This is Mountain Man, over and out.